Welcome, everyone. Today's attendance question will be, what is your favorite kind of dish with beef? Just something really random. What is your favorite beef dish? We will start with, all right, Charlie is up, then, and Emery. All right, and Nicole. Favorite beef dish? That's Stacy's question. What's your favorite dish with beef? That's very but first one. Rita, okay, great. Emery, what about you?
I like shepherd's pie.
That's a good one. John. Do you go by John or JD?
Yeah,
JD. Okay.
I would say that's steak.
Steak, good. And Mary Caitlin's out. What about Vale? You already gave yours from the other class, but beef enchilada. And Brady.
Steak.
Steak. Great. All right, any progress with the Zoom room?
I forgot what you were saying.
Okay, well, let's see. Yeah, I guess people can have that ends up being possible and thinking. So, how was this week's homework?
Easy.
Good. Didn't take you too long?
No.
Good. All right. There will be some weeks it'll be a little harder, but again, I'm aiming for like 3 to 4 weeks total, or 3 to 4 hours total. Sorry, and I had some few different places, but I'm trying to do technical difficulties and stuff. So, anyway, what we're gonna do today is partially go over the stuff we've already gone over and just practice it more, because pronunciation is really like, if you get a good foundation right at the beginning, it'll serve you for the rest of the year, and you won't really have to focus on it. You just do it by second nature. Here's this week's homework checklist. Again, I won't always bring these, but they are always posted online. And front is the checklist, back is the vocab. So you can pass these.
Do you need these back or need these back?
Yes, thank you. And I will collect your checklists. You can pass them to John.
I forgot to get parent signature.
Okay, I'll still accept it without the signature, but I do really want the signature, so. Yeah. But I'll give you credit for it anyway.
And I couldn't get a name. I couldn't figure out a name for it. And it said on the last one she was Spanish name.
Yeah.
So I'm still thinking about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, how the rest of you do for Spanish names? Do the rest of you have one picked up? You are Charlie? Great. I asked everybody I asked random attendance questions, and today's was, what is your favorite dish with beef?
Beef?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Wait, so was the vocabulary on a different piece of paper in the checklist? It's on the back.
It's on the back. Yeah. I think last week I gave it to you as like 2 stapled together, maybe, but.
I think this was after.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah,
Oh, man. That's a printing error. I'm so sorry. That's good. Well, that's okay. You can find the actual checklist online. This one, though, this one is okay. So I got at least one that works. So anybody want the working? How many of you have one that's like vocab on both pages? Just you two or anybody else? Weird. Okay. Well, so which one of you is more comfortable printing?
I can't do it.
All right. Well, that's pretty good. Don't know how that happened. All right. Do I have everybody's checklists? If you have them, you can pass them to John, and I will collect them. Because I did all of it from the one on the grant. Okay, well, go ahead and just check them, check everything that we did. But you should have them, though. You should check them before your parents sign them in the future. I'll accept this today, but in general, check them, have your parents look at it. To verify that you actually did it. Okay, yeah, so you also like that. Okay, sorry about that. So it looks like some of them printed wrong this week, which I'm sure is my fault. I just don't know how I did it. Maybe this one's okay as well. Yeah, I got another good one. Here in the front, so I'll give it to you. There's one more good one. And again, I may not bring the checklist every single week because you do have them online, so it's just you can print them and they're always linked. All right, so first thing we're going to do today is just review the Spanish alphabet and pronunciation. We'll do some new things today as well, and we'll do actually a bunch of conversation practice, which we didn't get to do too much last week because we were just kind of introducing the course. So let me see if you remember, how many letters are there in the Spanish alphabet?
30.
Very good, 30. What are the added letters?
And sure.
Yeah, so there's the Nye, which is the N with the squiggly line. There's Che, which is just CH. Yes, double L, which you would remember how to pronounce that one and what it's called. Hey, good. And then there's the double R, which is everybody's favorite. What is that one? Exactly. And I think we should spend a little bit of time practicing that today just for fun. Yeah, that's the R, the double R. Think of your tongue as like a flag flapping in the wind, and makes it a little bit easier. So, very good. And I think that was all the added ones, right? So, and let's see if you can remember what they're called. So, and say these after me. De, se, che, de, a, which is funny because it's not a, it's a. Efe, hey, and then we have a really weird one, ache, e, which is not e, it's e. Jota, ka, ele, eye, or if you're from some places, eje. You got on. Okay, wonderful. Well done. Thank you. So you can use that little tripod if you want. That way you don't have to bother. So if you're just tuning into the Zoom right now from the actual class one, I've had some serious technical difficulties today. First, the internet wasn't working. Now it is. But then I still couldn't get in, and I couldn't get it on my phone or my computer, even though I did exactly the same thing I did in the past. And I even tried a backup plan. That didn't work. So Cole has very graciously and laboriously managed to get in, and so he'll be filming the class from his phone. Would it be okay if I bring that up to the front? Okay, yeah, thank you. And so, but I'm also, I also started my own Zoom recording. And you can just put it on the, yeah, and just kind of aim it where the board's visible, maybe in front of Emery a little bit. Thank you. Well done. And so what we did is we basically just turned in homework, talked about a couple things, and now we're reviewing the Spanish alphabet. Anyway, so you haven't missed much. Now we have Aye, or if you're from certain places, AJ. Then we have MA, NA, NY, O, P, Q, let's see, P, Q, R, R, and R, P, Q, R, S, S, A, T, U, B, W, and you could also call this one B corta, C-O-R-T-A, B corta, because you got a problem, which is this is B and this is B, because you pronounce them the same way. So B, and I'll put in parentheses, corta, B corta. Can anyone say that? That's hard thing to say, corta, B corta. W, X, Y, and just in case anybody remembers, what does Y literally mean? Greek eye, yeah, because it's a borrowed letter from the Greek language. Originally, when it became a Latin letter, it was borrowed from the Greek. And then what is the last one? Sepa. Very good. Yeah. So Emery, especially, I heard you say sepa, which is good because it actually makes the S sound. All right, so we'll say them all again real quick. So you can repeat after me or say it as I say it if you want to really push yourself. A,
A,
B,
B,
C,
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 D,
D,
E,
E,
F,
F,
G,
E,
H,
H,
I,
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 J,
J,
E,
J,
J,
K,
K,
L,
L,
A,
A,
or AJ if you want to. M,
M,
N,
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 P,
P,
Q,
Q,
R,
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 L,
S,
S,
T,
T,
U,
U,
B corta, or you can say B, but that's the same as B. W, you can also call it W, or some other ones too. There's I can't remember what the other one was, but there's other names for it. X,
Keys,
Y, Seca.
Theta.
All right, well done. Now we'll review a little bit about the sounds. So vowel sounds first of all. What are our vowels? And sometimes Y. And the marker is dead. Let me grab another one. I forget what my stuff is as I'm teaching. Something I noticed by watching old Zoom videos is like that's like super loud on the recording. It's like louder than my voice. So sorry about that. Anybody watching at home? A, E, O, and sometimes Y. So this is like being father. So everyone say ah, that's a sound, not just a letter. And then this is also going to be like sound and the name of the letter are the same. That's going to be the case with all of them except for the Y. So A, but sometimes it's more like an E. So that's the only one that you really have to worry about, like a couple of different sounds out of just like the A, E, I, O. Then we have E, and O, and U. So and then the let's go over some of these, like the ones that are really mostly different. So remember that they and they are the same. And so it's a kind of a softer B, or a little bit of a softer B than the English B. But it's basically the same as our English B. They're both going to be pretty much the same as our English B. But it's a little bit between the two, so it's just slightly softer. And you'll pick up on that as you do Duolingo, especially. What happens to the letter C when you put it in front of an E or an I? Sounds like an S. And so does SA, and so does SETA. So normally, C is a K sound. Like, for example, Cuba, that's the country of Cuba, but you would pronounce it Cuba, say that, Cuba. But then if you have an E or an I, this S sound, cielo, that's heaven. And then same thing happens with hey. You stick it in front of an E or an I, and what does it sound like? Like the English J. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that's totally wrong. The Spanish J. That's actually an interesting way to think about it, because in English, you stick it before an E or an I, and it's the English J sound, like general, for example. And in Spanish, it sounds like the Spanish J, which is actually an H sound. So like a general, which actually is, if you say like en general, that's like in general in Spanish, and it's H sound. So English H, but Spanish J. However you think that's best to write in your notes. Write that in your notes. All right. So this one's an important one to hit. What about Ache? What sound does it make? Silent. Good. All right. Bota. I already talked about this one. That's going to be the English H. Up here. So I'll get to the L's and the R's later. Remind me if I forget. Ege, we already pointed out, is like the English Y. Enye, what about this one? This will be like an NY. And piñata, you go nya, piñata. Or it's like a GN in Italian, like gnocchi, Gnocci, right? Or HICCHI. But anyway, it's like an NY sound. And then I already told you this is the rolled R. Or you could say trilled if you like to say that. Ekis, I don't think I pointed this out before, but ekis is like an English X. Except if it's in like, especially like Mexican words, it'll often be pronounced like an H. So I'll just say, sometimes H, especially in like Mexican words. So like, as in, here's an easy example, Mexico. You ever heard that? It's not Mexico, it is Mexico, because that's obviously a Mexican word. So Mexico. Here's a really crazy girl's name, Iomara. I met someone named Iomara once. But she's from Mexico. So I don't know if it's exclusively Mexican words where the X sounds like an H, but to my experience, it seems to be the case. All right, and again, zeta is zeta. It's not zeta, it's zeta. And the last thing I'm going to do is just review how to do the L's and the R's and the D's. Because remember, what's kind of the difference between where your tongue tends to go and just like what part of your mouth you speak out of in Spanish versus English? Yeah, it's more forward. Very good. So, and so your mouth is kind of like, you're not going to be like doing all kinds of weird things. You're going to the back of your mouth like you do in English. We have a mouth, there's some teeth. And so if I say, here's a good name to practice this with. It's got an L and an R. So this is going to be Laura. Yeah, so it's not Laura, because when you say ra, your tongue goes back. Laura. But it's going to be Laura. So it's almost like a D. Laura. So your tongue kind of goes up and flicks right around, somewhere around here. If I say like, let's see, what's a Spanish word starting with a D? Dolor. And I overroll my R there. I didn't mean to. And I often do, so you just gotta bear with me. Duh, duh. So the L, I don't know, the D and the L are kind of close to where the tongue goes in the mouth. Same with the R, they're all in the same sort of region. So let's just practice this a little bit. Laura. Yeah, it's pretty tough, isn't it? Laura. Dolor. That's a tough one because it's got all three. Dolor. One word I hate saying is that's dollars. Dólares. Dólares. Fun fact, dolor means pain. And so if your name is Dolores, your name means pains. So yeah. But actually, even like, it's funny, there's people in the Bible names, like, it says like, his name was such and such because his mother said, I gave birth to him in pain. So, so that's probably like the same kind of idea with Dolores, I guess. But people do that. All right. So now I want to take the vocabulary that I just gave you, and could I have your extra sheet there, the one that was not correct? Since I gave you, or you, because I gave you like 3 copies.
Yeah, you just have.
Okay, thanks. So let's go through the vocabulary, just like the nouns especially. So I'm giving you a bunch of nouns this week. This is because when we jump in to chapter 1, it's a chapter about nouns and then adjectives. So you're going to find that in the chapters, I pointed this out in week 1, that there's like a ton of vocabulary in all the chapters. So I'll give you a bunch of the words before we get to the chapter, so that it's not as overwhelming, but I'm not going to, by any means, make you memorize everything. I am going to focus on words that are out of the top 1,000 most used Spanish words, though. So everything I teach you that you actually are supposed to memorize will probably be out of that. To review, you can use Quizlet to actually like play the pronunciation of the words, and you can repeat them to work on your pronunciation and to help you memorize them. So anyway, we're building up our our noun vocabulary now before we get to chapter 1. So first we'll say some of these words together, and then if anyone is brave and would like to volunteer, I'll have you try pronouncing some of these words on your own. There's one thing we need to review, which is the accent. So what is an accent? For like if you're talking about syllables, what is an accent? We're not talking about like a Spanish accent or a German accent or anything. We just mean like an accent when you have a word that has syllables.
Like the lines.
Mhm.
Like the lines in the syllables.
Yeah, so we can draw a line between syllables. So accent, and usually what you do is if you got two, you usually start a new syllable with a consonant. So that's why I drew the line between the two consonants. So we have accent. A syllable is a beat in the word. It's a 2-beat word. Accent. All right. And which one is the louder word? Is it ack or is it cent? Yep. So the accent is on ack. I'll take another one like the one that we did before. Dolor. So how many syllables? Dolor. And which one is accent? It's going to be lor. Dolor. And now, if a word is following normal accent rules in Spanish, you don't have an accent mark. But if it breaks the rule, then it will. And we're just reviewing at this point. You know, this is still stuff we talked about last week. So if I have a Spanish word that ends in anything other than a vowel, an N, or an S, which syllable gets accent? And dolor would be an example. Anybody remember? It's actually going to be the last syllable. But if a Spanish word ends in a letter other than, or if it ends in a letter that is a vowel or an S.
I think the second to last syllable.
Yeah. So say accent the second to last, or accent the last syllable. I'm writing this in a different way than the book just to give you variety. Unless it ends in a vowel, A, E, I, O, U, or I don't know if they count Y with this, but let's just assume they do. A vowel, an N, or an S. So I can say dolor, and lord gets the accent because it doesn't end in a vowel or an N or an S, so it's the last syllable. But if I say dolores, which of these 3 syllables got the accent? Dolores. Yep, very good. So if it ends in an S, an R, or sorry, an S, an N, or a vowel, then it's the second to last that gets it. Dolores. So same word, but I just made it plural, and I didn't capitalize it because it could be a name or it could just mean pains if you make it plural. So yeah, that's how we do accents. All right, so let's practice saying all these. The first one, it's a little bit tricky. Actually, I have trouble saying TRs, like STRs are kind of a thing for me. But maestro. Can everyone see that? Maestro. So which one gets the accent?
The second to last.
Why?
Because it ends in a vowel.
Very good. Maestro. Yeah. And so that's going to be teacher. We can also do, oh, I skipped one. This one's a good example. Estudiante. Second to last because?
Of a vowel.
Very good. Estudiante. Estudiante. All right. And notice these don't actually have accent marks in them. I'm putting them in just so you can see, but you only put the accent marks in the Spanish word if it's like part of its normal spelling, and it's only going to be part of its normal spelling, you know, with a couple exceptions. If it's like it breaks this rule. All right, estudiante, and that's student, obviously. What is libro? Book, good. And so ends with a vowel, so second to last. Everyone say libro. All right, so you're getting the idea of this? I'll go a little faster. So now we have amigo, friend. All right. El banco, the bank. I should be saying el or la. Let me explain what el or la is. Anybody know, first of all? Cool.
El masculine law.
Yes, very good. So Spanish is like Latin in certain other languages. German does this. There's a bunch of languages that do this. I really don't know why, because I'm just like, why do you make languages complicated? But nouns are given masculine or feminine qualities, I guess. Like, you know, it's either considered a masculine or a feminine noun, or, you know, some of them are more like, depending on the language, you can have neutral nouns, like neuter is what you call it. But in Spanish, you differentiate between masculine or feminine by putting an article in front of it. And so el, if I say, I don't know, el libro, that means the book. So el means the. I'll just teach you another one. It's an example of a feminine. If I say escuela, you say that, escuela, la escuela, that means the school. And it's feminine, so I have la to mean the. So libro by itself is book. El libro is the book. Escuela by itself is school. La escuela is the school. All right. We'll talk later about another type of article, which is un for masculine or una for feminine, and then there's plurals like unos, unas, but I'll save that for afterwards probably, so not for another couple of weeks. All right, so el hermano, and notice it starts with an H, but it's silent, hermano. And then the feminine version, la hermana. So that'll be the brother or the sister, all right? Now I'm going to reverse this. I'm going to say the English and you say the Spanish. Do your best with what you know and see if you can pronounce these words based on the rules you know. All right? The child / little boy, el niño. And then if it's a little girl instead, very good, la niña. And so if you're referring to a category of people, and it could be like masculine and feminine both included, then use the masculine word. So for example, if you're talking about, and in Spanish, you do pluralize things with the letter S, so that's kind of a nice thing. Sometimes you have to have an ES, like if it ends in a consonant, you add ES to make it plural. But niño means, well, niño ends in a vowel, so you just put an S. So if I say niños, that can mean little boys, or it could just mean like children in general. Because if you use the masculine one, then like if you had 99 little boys and you had one little girl, you would refer to the entire group as niños. Or if you had 99 little girls and one little boy, you would still refer to the entire group as niños. Because if there's one masculine in the group, then you treat it as masculine. Maybe that's a little sexist, I don't know, but it's the way the language works. Yeah, so niños and then niñas, feminine. Now, next one, the animal. Good. El animal. And the reason it's animal is because it ends in a consonant other than N or S. All right, next one. This is a tough one. See if you can hear the, everyone try this. So what you do, your tongue is still kind of going, you know, upward, but it's not going like to the point of touching your mouth. And you just blow air across it, and it's just going to flap. And I'm not like excellent at it personally. I'm probably doing it in a way that's not exactly right. But that's basically what Chewbacca does. You know, you're speaking Wookiee, you just moan while you're doing that. Or something like that. That wasn't a very good example, but so let that be your incentive. You can speak Wookiee, you can speak Spanish. You ever get weirded out by how in Star Wars, like everybody somehow speaks every language, or like most of them, and it's like you're just like a bounty hunter. How did you have time to learn all of this? And you can fly every ship, you know, regardless of like what planet it's from. Like you can't even drive every vehicle on one planet. That's very loud. Sorry about that. I keep my phone on in case of like a student texting or parent texting, but that was really loud. And it was a solicitation, of course. All right. So we did el animal, el perro. So try that. El perro, the dog. All right, the cat. That's easier. El gato. I want everyone to be saying these. The doctor. El doctor. Yeah. And it ends in an R, so doctor. The last syllable gets the man. Hombre. Very good. Yeah. No H, so or no sound for the H, so hombre. Hombre. All right, the store. La tienda. Good. All right, now let's review all of the numbers we've done, because now this week you'll be able to count to 20. Did I give you 0 last week? Okay. Zero. Good. Yeah. So just for fun, 0 is I forget. Does it start with a C or a Z?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Thank you. Because it would be pronounced the same way either way. So zero is 0. And then we got. I'm impressed. You guys have already come a long way with pronunciation. It's just week 2, or class 2. We haven't even done a second week. It's been 1 week. So cero. Then 1 is uno. What is 2? Dos. Tres. Cuatro. Cinco. I'm running a little slower than you are. Seis. And these actually get pronounced together as one sound, seis. That's called a diphthong, when you have 2 vowels acting as one. Siete. Ocho. Nueve. And it's, we want to say nueve, but it's nueve because it's like the same. And I think there's a little bit of variance on that from country to country. I remember my Cuban Spanish teacher saying like, that Cubans in particular would like really make it sound like a B harder than some countries. But then, the source, like this book says that it's just the same across the board, basically. And then you have these. So let's run through that. Uno, dos, tres. TR is hard. Cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve. Yes, and now the new ones. So 11, once, 12, doce, trece, catorce, quince, and then it changes. Now it's going to be 10 and 1. Yeah, 16 is basically 10 and 1. 16, 18, or 17, 18, 19, and then 20 is 20. I'll give you another like 10 numbers every week, pretty much for a little while until we get to like being able to count by hundreds and thousands and stuff. But it's not going to be like 100 through 110 and then 120 and stuff like that. I'll just show you the tricks after 100 for doing everything else. What was that? Some other question? Okay. All right. Now we need to do some conversation practice. Before we do that, though, let's just see if everybody has Spanish names. If anybody needs Spanish names, if you one in the class can name you. Which is a little dangerous, or you can just take another week. It's fine. But does anyone actually have a name picked out? Okay. Oh, nice. That's a good one. So Vale is Dante. So everyone say "Hola, Dante." All right, good. Yep.
I want Bianca, but I don't know if it's Spanish.
I don't know.
I feel like
It probably is. So
I don't know.
tentatively, Emery can be. Actually, I know what it is. The Spanish one is Blanca.
Oh yeah.
Blanca. All right. So hola, Blanca. Do you want to keep that one or?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I chose Juan Esteban.
Ah, nice. You got to calm down. All right. So Cole. is Juan Esteban. And Esteban, so you can probably figure out what is the English of Juan? John, yeah. So when I was in Nicaragua and when I was in Costa Rica, for mission trips, I had people call me Juan. And what is Esteban? This is a little harder. What's the English version? It's actually Stephen. So this would be John Stephen, but Juan Esteban. So hola Juan Esteban.
Hola, Juan.
Very good. Brady, did you have one? Pablo, good. All right. Pablo, that's easy. Hola, Pablo. Oh yeah, there was a penguin named Pablo, right? All right, John.
I was just gonna go one, but
All right, it's still good. We could just mostly call you Esteban, but you can be both.
yeah, no, I'll kind of think.
That'd be funny if we called you like Hotate. That kind of sounds weird. And Charlie, you were out, but do you have a name?
Yeah, I said,
Carlos, good. Okay, that's perfect because that's Charlie in Spanish. So, so everyone, hola, Carlos. Okay, we can name. Yeah, we can.
Name.
I
Go
say
ahead.
Dora.
Dora. No, at least Diego. At least.
I was gonna say Diego, but Dora would be better.
We could call him like Daniel, but that sounds like Danielle, so I don't want to do
Oh, let's do
that.
Danya.
Yeah.
I actually have like a big list of names. You want me to try to find them?
I actually have
Oh yeah, that would be David. Yep, D-A-V-I-D, David. Or John, if you want, I can give you this list, or I can try to find one for you. Tell you what, I'll make a nomination really fast.
Yeah, do it.
It's not going to be one you'll want, probably. Oh, that's interesting. There's Miguel Angel, which would be like the angel Michael. And call you Bruno.
Do it.
Facundo? Probably not. But oh, Geronimo. That's like Geronimo, I guess. I didn't know that was one. Got Dante on here. That was a good name. I think Dante's a good one. I could actually call you Mario if we wanted. But yeah, so I don't have any like amazing suggestions from this. I'll give you the list. This next few minutes. All right, so that's good. I'll take a picture of that so that I remember your names. And then we'll move on to some dialogue. So I want to take the conversation stuff that we did last week, as well as a couple new things, and do some dialogues for you all to practice. All right. So let's start with last week's stuff. So what's the first? Your first word, I think, was hola, right? Yes. Cabello? Is it like cabello? C-A-B-E-L-L-O or? Okay. I would have to see it again. But caballo is horse. And caballero is cowboy. It can also mean like gentleman. All right, so last week's stuff. We have hola. And you could do this punctuation if you're enthusiastic. In Spanish, where we would have just an exclamation mark, they have an upside down exclamation mark and an exclamation mark. Same with question marks, like hola, which of course is hello. And then we have que pasa. What is que pasa?
How are you?
Yep, it can mean kind of like how are you, but in the less formal way, it's like it's really like what's up. Literally, what it means is what is happening. And like pasar is like to pass, but it can mean like to happen, basically. So what's up? Then we have some greetings. Instead of hola, you could say, what is good morning?
Buenos dias.
Good. Buenos dias. I'll make that enthusiastic as well, which is good morning. I'm not going to write good morning because I'm going to run out of space if I do. But you can tell by the order what these are. What's good afternoon?
Buenas.
Yeah, buenas tardes, which is also hard to say, the RD. Buenas tardes. And then the last one,
Buenas noches.
good. Buenas noches. What do you think buenas means?
Good.
It's a form of bueno, which means good. And that one's got a couple of weird forms, like bien is like well, but bueno is good, and so this is just like good, plural, and feminine. And then this one would be good, plural, masculine. Literally, días means days, and it's actually like normally in Spanish, if a word ends in an O, maybe some of you already know this, is it masculine or feminine?
It's not me.
Yeah, and A is feminine. So días is a really weird word because it should be feminine, but it's actually a masculine one. So buenos, and if you have an adjective ending in O, or if it's plural, then OS, then that's going to be a masculine adjective, and if it ends in A or AS, it's going to be feminine. So tardes, so tarde is afternoon, noche is night, they're both feminine. And so that's why it goes from buenos dias, which is actually masculine, even though it shouldn't be, to buenas for the other ones. All right, so those are our greetings. And we also have, just to review all of them. All right, let's skip to, how do you ask somebody their name?
¿Cómo se llama usted?
Very good. So that's going to be if it's somebody that's like you're speaking to formally, ¿Cómo se llama? And then if you say usted, then you're making it clear that you're being formal, because usted is like sir or madam, kind of. So, but if you're speaking to a classmate, since you're all peers, like if you're talking to me because I'm older, you would say ¿Cómo se llama usted? Everyone say that. ¿Cómo se llama
¿Cómo se llama?
usted? But if you're talking to each other, ¿Cómo te llamas? And that's going to be how are you called in both situations. But we'll get into the grammar of that some other time. And then if you want to say my name is,
Me llamo.
me llamo, whatever your name is. Name in Spanish is nombre, if you're curious. And then if you want to say like it's a pleasure to meet you, what do you say?
Mucho gusto.
Good. Mucho gusto. Which is like much pleasure. And then if you want to say likewise, this word basically means equally.
Más o menos. Wait, más o menos.
But that'll be more or less. That's the thing. But equally or likewise, igualmente. So mucho gusto, I'm going to loosely translate it as like with pleasure, but meaning like it's a pleasure to meet. This is something you would say when you meet someone. And if you wanted to say more of it, you could say con mucho gusto. There's other variations, but igualmente, we're going to say for now, likewise. All right, so let's start with these and do some dialogues. Can I get 2 volunteers? Okay, Emery and you're in the front. So the unnamed student at the moment. So
Bruna, I'll do that.
okay, we could call you like otro Juan, which is other Juan. Yeah. Okay, Bruno, sounds good. Blanca y Bruno. And Blanca, well, if I say y, that means and, just in case you were curious. Just letter y, griega. So Blanca y Bruno. You can stand up here in front. Let you guys kind of move around. And everyone's going to do this.
We are math.
Only if you stand within 6 feet of each other. So you're called there. All right. So I'll have Bruno, you can start. And so you can say some form of greeting, and you get to choose. And let's kind of skip que pasa for now. Okay. Because we can make it fit, but I don't think we really need to at the moment. So let's skip it.
It's around noon. Bruno Portland.
Tardes. Tardes. Yeah. So good. So buenas tardes. That's good. And then you can just respond with the same greeting if you want. So, and you can look at it.
Oh,
Yeah. Good.
hola,
Good. And Bruno, you can ask her what her name is.
Como te llamas?
me llamo Blanca.
Very good. Yeah, and the double L is the ya. So, ¿cómo te llamas? And that was right. Me llamo Blanca. All right. You could say,
Mucho gusto.
very good.
Igualmente.
Very
How do you
good.
say it?
Yeah, igualmente. Very good. That was excellent. All right, 2 more volunteers. I'm going to make everyone do it, like I said. So maybe, yeah, you and, I don't remember Spanish names now. Dante. So Juan Esteban, Dante. All right, let's switch it up. So Dante, you can take the first part. So you can greet him first.
Hola, buenas noches.
You can pretend it's night. That's fine. Yeah. And-
Hola, buenas noches.
very good. All right. So then you would ask him, what is his name?
¿Cómo se llama?
Me llamo Juan Esteban.
Very good.
Mucho gusto.
Igualmente. Very good. Yeah, nicely done. All right. Now, trying to remember your Spanish names, but Charlie and Braden. Pablo y Carlos. And Carlos, could you start with the first greeting? And you can pretend it's morning, you can pretend it's afternoon or night, or you just say hola. Whichever of the 3 you want.
Hola.
Yeah. Okay, that's how that works. And then you can just say hola. All right. Then,
How are you?
well, ¿cómo te llamas?
How are you, sir?
But you can say in Spanish that ¿cómo te llamas?
Como te llamas?
Very good. And now you tell me your name.
Me llamo Pablo.
Good. Me llamo Pablo. And now Carlos, you would say me llamo Carlos.
Me llamo Carlos.
Very good. Yes. All right. And then
Mucho gusto. Plus,
but in Spanish,
mucho gusto.
that'll be igualmente. Very good. All right. Good job, everyone. So now we're going to do one more. Oh, my computer is running low. I better plug that in. So we have a couple of new ones today for dialogue practice, which this will be. Where are you from? This is de donde eres. And if you want, you can say de donde eres tú. Now this would be just like if you're talking to somebody who's like a peer. The alternative, the formal one, would be de donde es usted. But I didn't write that in. And then your response would be soy de, and then you name the place that you're from. Let me plug in. But as I'm doing that, I can just tell you, like, one potential answer if you want to say you're from the United States. You could say Los Estados Unidos. So los is the, Estados will be states, and then Unidos is united. Because in Spanish, you have your adjective come after the noun it modifies in most situations. And so we don't say the United States in Spanish, we say the States United. And there's actually, oh, it's kind of funny. There's another, instead of USA, it'll be, is it EUA or something? I can't remember what it is. Estados Unidos Americanos or something like that. But I think it's like the EUA or something. And I remember my brother worked for a company where they would make these cartoons, and a lot of them were like political cartoons. and they had like two presidential candidates in the U.S. Back then it was like Obama and who was running against him? Was it McCain? I can't remember, but it was a while ago. And so like they're like in this cartoon, they're like running across the finish line in the race, and instead of USA, it says like EAU or whatever it is, or EUA, and it's like, I didn't know this was from Mexico, but now I do. All right. So for this one, yeah, so the top potential answers here, you could say, well, a lazy answer would be soy de aquí. I am from here. Aquí is here. But if you want to say you're from the U.S., los, say this with me, los Estados Unidos. Again, chapter 1, this will make more sense why it's the way it is. And then if you want to say you're from Florida, this is a harder word to say, but la Florida. And the accent is on the second to last syllable because it's the vowel. And it turns out, did you know that Florida is actually a Spanish word? I can't remember exactly how you. Yeah. So I guess it would mean like the flowered, basically. I'm not totally sure exactly how that works, but flor is flower. And they basically said, there's flowers here. It's La Florida. So, what's that? Oh, soy. Very good. Yes, thank you. So soy, we're going to learn this in two chapters. So in chapter 2, you're going to learn that soy is I am, and de is from. So that's really good to know. De is from, used very often, and soy used very often as well. I am. There's also an I am, which is estoy, but that's kind of different. Like soy is like I am in a sense of my identity, or like permanently I am kind of a thing. Whereas estoy is more like, temporarily I am. Kind of. That's an oversimplification. I'll get to it later. We'll get to that in chapter 2. Eres is you informally, like just you, if you're talking to like a friend or a peer or something like that, you are for a child. And es can also mean you are. It can also mean he, she, or it is, but I'm not going to get into that. But it's the formal version. So yeah, one of the things that's kind of annoying in Spanish is that you use different verb forms depending on if you're talking to somebody who's like, if you're showing respect or if you're just like talking to a peer. So that can have to do with like the age who you're talking to. It's not as bad as in Japanese. In Japanese, like they have all these different everything, basically, depending on if you're talking to somebody who's like a member of your family, or like they're a peer, or like they're close to you but older and not related, or if they're your boss. And it's like they have all these different things. And I picked up a Japanese book one time, did like on language just for fun, studied it for about 15 minutes. And one of the things it said is it gets really confusing, especially to an outsider who's trying to like go to Japan and not dishonor everybody with their bad grammar by like referring to somebody in an unhonorable way, like, not using the right tenses to show the proper amount of esteem for them. Because it's a very honor-based culture, and so that's a big problem. And then it's really complex. But they're like, what do you do if like your boss is your son? Do you call him like sama, which is more like formal, or do you call him like kun, which is more like affectionate, or And so it's like even over there, it's kind of hard to figure out if you were like native to the language, and then if you're trying to break it, it's really hard. So be grateful. All you have is like usted or not usted. So. And it's fairly clear cut in Spanish. It's like if they're older than you, if they're like someone that's a stranger and you're trying to show respect, then you would use usted. Or if they're like, an esteemed peer, that kind of thing. But then if they're like a child or like clearly younger than you or a peer, you would say tú. All right. So everyone say this: ¿De dónde eres? Or ¿de dónde es usted? Right? Soy de aquí. That would be I am from here. I don't know if people really say that or not. That's just me thinking, how would I answer if I was being lazy? Soy de los Estados
Soy de los Estados
Unidos.
Unidos.
Very good. Soy de, the harder one, La Florida.
Soy de la Florida.
Very good. All right. So I'll just get random volunteers at this point without, you guys don't have to get up for this. But Juan Esteban, Blanca. So you two, you say, de donde eres, and you answer however you want to answer.
Soy de la Florida.
Very good. All right. You ask Bruno.
¿Y dónde?
Soy de la Florida.
Good. Soy de la Florida. That's a hard one to say, but you did really well with that. All right. Carlos, Pablo. All right. So Carlos, you can ask him, de donde eres? Very good. Nicely done. All right. Now we can reverse them. So Blanca, Juan Esteban.
¿De dónde eres?
Soy de la Florida.
Very good. Now Bruno, Dante.
¿Y dónde eres?
Soy de la Florida.
Y Pablo, Carlos.
Soy de aquí.
Well, you ask first. And then you say, soy de aquí, which you said already. Very good. All right. Nicely done, everyone. Yeah, I'm impressed. We're coming along already. All right. I will see you next week. Your homework's online. And I'll post the following week's homework, just in case you want to look ahead. Hopefully tonight or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. But we'll see. Thank you.